offer our friends in India, particularly in agriculture, as well as the emerging sectors we are building as part of our future Made in Australia. We also exchanged a Memorandum of Understanding on investment cooperation between Austrade and Invest India, which will help boost two-way investment between our countries. Our government has also wrapped up consultations on our new India Economic Roadmap. We've held over 400 consultation sessions across the state and territory and in India. Over the past 2 days, Minister Goyal has heard from a range of Australian businesses who see wonderful opportunities to partner with India in sectors like green energy, education skills, tourism, agriculture and technology. And in a few moments, the Minister and I will walk up to the Australian Space Agency headquarters and to meet some of the Australian space startups that are pioneering directly with India. Our government is committed to driving more practical cooperation between Australia and Indian businesses. That's why today I'm announcing $10 million in new grants for Australian businesses, organisations and university to boost cooperation with India. By extending the $10 million Maytree Grants program, the government will deliver, firstly, $5 million for Australian organisations working on projects that boost trade and innovation, cultural ties and community links, and then a first for scholars and fellowships to support Australian universities to host some of the brightest Indian students in their research and on some of our biggest shared challenges. As I indicated before, the Minister and our wives will be heading out to the magnificent Clare Valley, and we'll continue to discuss wonderful opportunities between our two countries. And I'd invite my good friend Piyush to say some words about today's events and his time in Australia.
Thank you very much, Honourable Don Farrell, Member of Parliament and Minister for Trade and Industry, someone I look upon as not only a friend and well-wisher, but a brother who has been a guide, who has helped me understand trade nuances, very sensitive, ever smiling, and a well-wisher of the Australia-India partnership. Thank you very much for your warm hospitality. Thank you very much for bringing me to Adelaide for the first time. What a beautiful city, charming, a place we've heard about from childhood when cricket matches, and in the good old days we had 5-day test matches where every wicket falling was blown all over the television and radio. But to actually be right across from the Adelaide Stadium is truly a memorable visit for me. We've had very good engagement with Australian business persons in Sydney over the last 2 days. The excitement is truly palpable on both sides, Australian business and Indian business. For the first time ever, both our major chambers, the Confederation of Indian Industries and the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, were represented by their top leadership together as a testimony of the importance that the Australia relationship is to India. We are looking at significantly upscaling our partnerships in trade, investment, tourism, and technology. And therefore, one of the first announcements I'd like to make is that we shall shortly be setting up in Sydney an office covering all these four areas: ITTT, investment, trade, technology, and tourism, with representatives of Invest India, representatives of the organization responsible for building industrial smart cities and townships, NICDIC, representatives of our Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, and other officials related to trade and tourism, along with the private sector, CII, jointly manning these offices to act as a bridge between investors and businesses on both sides, and working closely together with Austrade, with whom Invest India has today exchanged an MOU for mutual investment promotion, technology and trade facilitation, and other insights into economic activity. Thank you very much, Dawn, for giving us the encouragement to work together on these areas. And I'm sure the unprecedented ties that our two countries are sharing today, with 9 in-person meetings since May 2022, in less than 3 years, 9 in-person meetings of our senior leaders, both prime ministers, reflecting the deep bonding that both prime ministers, the political leadership have, which supplements the business-to-business and people-to-people connect that Australia and India share. Friends, today is a very important day in India. We are celebrating 10 years of our Make in India program. Prime Minister Modi, on 25th of September 2014, had launched this initiative. And through the Make in India program, over the last 10 years, we have significantly had a whole of the government approach to addressing the challenges that manufacturing in India had faced, whether it is provision of plug-and-play infrastructure, a national single window for all approvals, whether it is reducing compliance burden or decriminalizing laws, opening up foreign direct investment in newer sectors, making it easier to invest in India, or encouraging the startup ecosystem. It's been a multi-pronged approach to attract manufacturing in India. And I do see a lot of promise between the Make in India program and the Future Made in Australia program that your government has launched, so that we can exchange technologies, exchange opportunities, and encourage businesses on both sides to work with each other. This enhanced cooperation, be it in education, be it in skill development, tourism, investments, critical minerals, which we discussed at length today, or renewable energy, green ecosystem towards sustainability. All of these are areas where this relationship holds tremendous potential, and India is committed to partner with Australia to provide a bouquet of opportunities to our business persons on both sides, so that we can work towards a greater and more ambitious relationship on the economic front. Friends, as Minister Farrell mentioned, Ekta, and I think some of you may recall, Ekta in India, in Hindi, is unity. This agreement has truly been a game changer, provided greater market access to businesses on both sides, and has resulted in a significant increase in merchandise trade. We are looking at further strengthening the Ekta agreement through the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, the CECA, and we do hope to see a greater flow of goods and services along with investments flowing out of the CECA, which we are to conclude at an early date, to unlock new dimensions in this partnership and provide further momentum to this business relationship. Friends, I must mention that we have also discussed at length greater cooperation at various multilateral fora like the WTO, the G20, the IPEF, and other international organizations where Australia and India share common interests. India is the world's fastest growing economy today. We grew at 8.2% last year. The economy today is the 5th largest in the world, expected to become the 3rd largest in the next 3 years. We will cross the $7 trillion mark by 2030 and the $10 trillion mark by 2034, 10 years from now. We are very confident of achieving a developed country status by 2047. Viksit Bharat 2047 is our ambition, is our goal, taking up our economy to 10 times today's size, to a $35 trillion economy in the next 25 years or so that we can meet the aspirations of 1.4 billion Indians for a better quality of life. And I see Australia playing an important role in this journey towards making India a developed nation, a role through greater trade, a role through exchange of technologies, a role in our common goals for sustainability, and a significant role when it comes to provision of high-tech services and investments. India offers the advantage of 4 Ds. The first is our democracy. We are a vibrant democracy, the world's largest democracy. The rule of law prevails. We provide safety and security for investment and people. And I think in today's day and age, 2 democracies working together provides a great comfort to investors in the long run. The second D is our demographic dividend. A young population with an average age of 28.4 years, expected to remain young for many more years to come, with 2/3 of our population in the working age group, providing skills, talent, and huge manpower force to help the economy grow faster. The third D is demand. 1.4 billion aspirational Indians demanding high-quality goods and services is a huge market opportunity and growth opportunity. And the fourth D is decisive leadership. The Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, and the government are willing to reform, transform, and perform to take the country to greater heights. I am very confident that together we shall make the Australia-India partnership a defining partnership of the decade, if not the 21st century. The kangaroos and the tigers together have a combined strength which is unstoppable. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we should give Piyush a clap for that. And thank you very much, my friend. And we'll open to questions.
This one's just for both ministers. Can you give an update on the CECA negotiations? Have you made progress on some of the outstanding points of difference? And have we seen agreement for Australia goes to its elections next year?
We are very optimistic that the good work that was done today will result in an expanded agreement. As we saw with the United Arab Emirates, when both parties put their mind to it, we can very quickly expedite the discussions to finalise an agreement And I'd be hopeful that with goodwill on both sides, and you can see today that's being demonstrated here. I think with goodwill we can very quickly resolve this issue, and we can have a new upgraded agreement between Australia and India.
Madam, I think the important and defining feature of our discussions and negotiations is the sensitivity that both sides have to each other's issues, defensive interests, offensive interests, all are considered together in a manner which will only result in a win-win situation. So any issue that I can see Australia would be uncomfortable with, I would not like to push or press on that. And likewise, our approach has been that if something is very sensitive to a large Indian population, given our current status of development, Australia has been very gracious in their understanding of our sensitivities. It is that deep confidence in each other that helps us to resolve issues very fast. And I'm very confident that the final agreement will only help grow this relationship. You saw that our first agreement didn't have any negative press or any negative public outcry. I'm sure the second agreement will correspondingly be a good mix of the good things that people want out of the agreement.
I think it's worthwhile repeating that when we were last in India together, we committed to increasing our trade from its current for a $49 billion two-way trade to $100 billion by the end of the decade. And I think I'm certainly happy, and I think I speak for Piyush here, to restate that today. We want to double that trade between our countries between now and the end of the decade.
Australia has traditionally been hesitant about removing barriers to Australian exports in sensitive sectors like dairy. Have you had consultations with those domestic producers, and has the government consulted with its coalition partners on any of those sensitivities?
First of all, the government in India is a strong government. The coalition is a pre-poll alliance. So we have very seamless consultations and very seamless understanding on any decisions that the government takes. As regards dairy, that sector was discussed even before we started the negotiations with Australia 3 years ago. And Indian dairy is very significantly different from Australian dairy. Our average holding with the farmer is a small 2-acre, 3-acre farm with 3 or 4 livestock, whereas Australia's farms and their dairy farms are both very large, and it would be near impossible for these large farms and these small farms to compete with each other on a common footing. We had discussed this issue even 3 years ago and on earlier occasions. And dairy is such a sensitive subject that in any of our FTAs across the world, we have not been able to open up the dairy sector with duty concessions. Dairy is permitted in India, but there are certain duties imposed on that. This is one sector where there is no discussion with any coalition partner. Even when we were a full majority government, there was no opening up of the dairy. It's actually two very unequal situations and would not lend themselves to fair trade between the two countries or between any countries. We have neither opened up dairy in Europe or planning to open up dairy in Europe, nor have we opened it up even with Switzerland and Norway, with whom we have recently concluded a FTA under the EFTA grouping, Switzerland, Norway, Liechtenstein and Iceland. Even there we have not opened up dairy. It's the first agreement Switzerland has signed without any component of dairy in it.
You predicted that China will remove its restrictions on lobsters by Christmas. Given your previous predictions on the subject have proven optimistic, why do you have the confidence that this will be resolved in the next 3 months?
Well, I'm an optimistic sort of person, and I think the only way you can do this job is to be optimistic. If you think about this, when we came to government 2.5 years ago, we had $20 billion worth of impediments between Australia and China. We have reduced that over time to less than $1 billion, and the work that is still outstanding, unfortunately, is lobster. We've recently had meetings both with the Chinese Premier and also my counterpart, Wang Wentao. In fact, as Piyush has done, they both came to Adelaide. It's becoming a bit of a feature of international trade these days. Everyone's coming to Adelaide. I'm confident that we can resolve the outstanding issues in a timely manner. It is unfortunate that that issue hasn't been resolved. It's absolute best to resolve it, but these issues do take time, and we'll continue to work very closely with the Chinese government to put aside all of the outstanding issues between our two governments.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, wherever you like.
Hello, Paul Starrick from the Advertiser in Adelaide. Two questions, one for both ministers. You mentioned agriculture as a significant component of the next phase of your agreement. Do you care to elaborate on that? What particular opportunities do you see? And secondly, for Senator Farrell, regarding an unrelated issue at the Whyalla Steelworks, the Premier's talked about the importance of that as a national enterprise. Do you agree, and what response, given its current predicament, do you think is appropriate at a national level?
Well, look, in terms of agriculture, we're talking about the removal of all of the issues that the tariffs that weren't removed at the last process. So we made very significant progress, but as the Minister said, some of the more difficult issues were not resolved at that issue. We put them to one side. They're all back on the table. So things like chickpeas, pistachios, apples. So all of the issues, all of the products where there are still tariffs, wine is another one, we are seeking to have those tariffs removed. But I don't want to go into the details of the negotiations. It's not appropriate to do that here. But we'll continue to work through. And as Piyush said, where issues are difficult, we understand that. And we're not going to make life any more difficult for the Indian government. On the other issue, look, I'm aware that there have been some discussions between the Prime Minister and the Premier over the issue of Whyalla. Obviously, steel making is a very important business in Whyalla. We want to, as a government, we want to see steel making continue, and of course all of those jobs be protected. And we will, of course, continue those discussions. I'd like to answer that first question.
I think it's very rightly put it. We let the negotiators take the discussions forward and give them a chance to look at what are the possibilities as we conclude the CECA.
Well, if there are no other questions, thank you very much for coming along today, and we'll head up to the Space Agency after a quick lunch with the Premier and the Governor. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, friends.